Yedemo boy Rakwabena AduBoahen in a court case and matters arise and abusuya and some bebre ena boba edi free hwa enye asam ketu akra kwabena AduBoahen ene wasanso akopie court ama court asanso a reject ne email bia o provide as evidence any a project area to your screen enchen ede amamano court rejects email evidence of bank transfer of 1.65 million Ghana cedis and 400,000 Ghana cedis from AduBoahen's account to the Fidelity bank account of the BNC director. Abusuya, also court rejects email evidence of bank transfer of 1.65 Ghana cedis and 400,000 Ghana cedis from AduBoahen's account to the Fidelity bank account of the BNC director. Abusuya, enti kwabena AduBoahen abusuya ono ankasa yisi ano we lose faith because strategy a omo faso na omo de pese omo weni omo case no abusuya eba evidence a bibia ekura court no enti ekwan bi opese ofaso na ode eje no ho free na sema owo mu no abusuya emfa enti ene or the email evidence bi kokopie mu e court no asanso abatu ogu a o kire se time na bank transfer no ekosu no na ono ankasa no ne personal account no na eweke sa na personal account no time na ekosu no na eyade a ono ne personal account no sa personal account no na enyade a na enya adwuma Intino Kevin Taylor ede ho nsem ababetu amom yanko na yankonkoti ensem Kevin Taylor ede etu dwana on subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na any updates be able drop so onsa ebetumi akabi medamase.
Let's now go to the courts where lawyers of former National Signals Bureau have lamented about the frequency of objections raised by the state prosecutors in the ongoing trial of Kwabena AduBoahen and his wife. Lead counsel Samuel Atacha laments that several of the objections raised by the Deputy Attorney General are needless and serve to delay the trial. Lord Idwasari reports.
Mildred Donko, the second prosecution witness, continued giving evidence on Monday, May 25, when the case was called. During cross-examination by defense lawyer Samuel Atacha, the former director of Advantage Solutions, now prosecution witness, admitted in court that bank statements indicated cash transfers were made to former National Signals Bureau director Kwabena AduBoahen. Reading from bank statements showing transfers on 9th July and 3rd December 2018, the witness noted that sums of 1.7 million and 402,000 cedis were sent to AduBoahen's account. Lawyers for AduBoahen sought to establish that the accounts of the former National Signals Bureau director were active long before he was accused of setting up the accounts to steal and launder money. Atacha then tendered email documents showing bank transfers of 1.65 million cedis and 400,000 cedis from AduBoahen's account into a Fidelity bank account. However, this was rejected after Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai raised an objection arguing that it was irrelevant to the timelines of the offences the National Signals Bureau director has been charged with. The court had earlier admitted into evidence email documents showing bank transfers of 1.7 million cedis and 402,000 cedis to accounts of Kwabena AduBoahen. The prosecution witness subsequently told the court that AduBoahen's BNC Communications Bureau Limited was closed in March 2023. Reacting after proceedings on Monday,
story, Ghana has now joined 6 other countries on the continent to roll out an e-visa system which will take a maximum of 48 hours to be issued. This was revealed by President John Mahama, who used the occasion to reiterate his call that Ghana is open for business and called on other African countries to implement the AU Protocol on Free Movement of Africans as the continent marks 63 years since the formation of the Union.
Long before the formation of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, in 1963, with the aim of promoting unity, Ghana had been advocating Pan-African ideals and championing integration through trade and economic independence for the continent. To further advance this cause, Ghana, on Monday, May 25, launched a portal to facilitate the easy issuance of visas for African nationals and persons from around the world who wish to visit Ghana. President Mahama, who takes over the chairmanship of the African Union in 2027, says Ghana's launch of the e-visa system is to fast-track the borderless concept of a united Africa.
The electronic visa system, or e-visa, will allow travelers from all around the world to apply for visas online. They would upload the supporting documents electronically and make their secure digital payments and receive travel authorization in their emails or on their phones. It is fitting that we launch this initiative on Africa Day, the 25th of May. On this day, we are not merely unveiling a digital visa platform. We are reaffirming Ghana's historic commitment to Pan-Africanism, African unity, and continental integration.
Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa dismissed assertions that rolling out a free visa policy for African passport holders and an e-visa system would compromise Ghana's national security.
Databases that ensure that vetting and screening is enhanced. So for those who think that the new regime of openness means that we are going to undermine our security, you heard it from the Minister of the Interior. We have put in place the needed mechanisms to ensure that even as we open up our country, we do not undermine the security and the stability of our country.
The e-visa application fee is $260 and will take 48 hours for a decision to be made. Another interesting aspect of what the president presented is the fact that from August 2026, anybody traveling out of the country, especially those going out, will not have to remove their shoes or take out their laptops and liquids from their luggage, because a new machinery is going to be installed at the airport, which the president says is going to take away or do away with that kind of inconvenience. We'll update you when that actually is rolled out later this year in August. Martin Esiedudate for TV3 News, Accra. And still on the same subject matter, the idea of one Africa has long been one of the continent's proudest promises. But recurring xenophobic attacks in South Africa are raising fresh concerns about whether the African Union is doing enough to protect the unity. Even after a formal petition by the government of Ghana, critics say that the AU has remained largely silent on the matter. There's more in this report.
For decades, African leaders have spoken about a united continent where Africans can move and live freely beyond their borders. But recurring xenophobic attacks in South Africa continue to cast doubt over that vision. The violence against African nationals in South Africa has sparked growing calls for the African Union to take a firmer stance with the government of Ghana among countries that have formally petitioned the EU to act. Yet critics argue the continental body has still not responded strongly enough. International relations expert Professor Daniel Dramani Kiposunyezi believes the silence from the continental body risks weakening the very idea of African integration and free movement.
I think that our continental body, African Union, has been very lenient to South Africans, and I expect that the continental body should have taken drastic measures against the South African authority. The very continental unity that our forefathers fought, including Nelson Mandela, who was also a visionary looking for the unity of the continent. I don't think Mandela will be happy to see that the country that he fought for their freedom, the man which African leaders supported, including Ghana, political liberation of South Africa, that country has now turned it back, torturing, molesting, attacking the very people who fought for their liberation. Sadly, they have overlooked the very regime that suppressed them with racial segregation, and they have turned to the vulnerable one, torturing them.
For Africa Union Eminent Peace Ambassador Bishop Samuel Ben Owusu, his disappointment goes beyond the African Union itself.
I'm not disappointed by the African Union. You know, I'm disappointed by the Africans, because the character we have is what we have carried into the AU. our actions, we take time to come into the value of human lives. Sometimes we are waiting for something serious to happen to somebody before we say, oh, okay, there's an emergency. This thing started not today. It started small, and now we are getting there. If we are not careful, this will become an African problem. And you see, sometimes there are superpowers that are behind these kind of things that are happening. So I will encourage the African Union. We have put petitions. We have asked the African Union to talk about it and do something about it. And I think that there's going to be a change.
As Africa marks another AU Day with renewed calls for unity and continental progress, many observers say the real test of African integration may not only lie in policies and speeches, but in how boldly the continent responds when Africans themselves come under attack in fellow African states. Because for many, the dream of one Africa cannot thrive where fear, division and silence still exist among Africans themselves. Safwa Boyne, TV3 News.
And away from the African Union, the threat of Ebola may not be new to Ghana, but the question remains, how prepared is the country to the threat? Sarah Apenkro has been assessing the country's preparedness at ports of entry and infectious disease centers with officials.
At the heart of Ghana's response strategy are specialized infectious disease and isolation centers established to contain highly infectious diseases before they spread into communities. Facilities such as the Ghana Infectious Disease Center, along with designated treatment and isolation units in regional hospitals, are expected to play a critical role should a suspected Ebola case emerge. Checks at the center, which played a critical role during the COVID-19 outbreak, indicate it is in good condition and ready to receive and isolate patients, support laboratory testing, protect healthcare workers, and coordinate emergency response measures. Private facilities have not been left out. Another critical area in focus is the country's ports of entry. At the Accra International Airport, port health workers are seen attending to travelers with available screening tools. Although a few gaps were identified, health officials maintain that the country is ready in the event of a case.
Yeah, so the thermal thermometers that we have 9 of them. They are being fixed as we talk. We have the people fixing them, but they are being substituted by the handheld ones, which do the same thing, and we have that available, and that is already being done. So we hope that within the course of the week it will even facilitate the free movement of people. We are well prepared and ready. People have institutional memory of what happened in 2014, 2016. We still have that experience from managing COVID, and people were already prepared for hantavirus, and now Ebola came to overlap it, and so we are very much well prepared. We went through the flow. If a patient should come in or passengers come in, how we get the opportunity to see, and this is a collaboration work. The guideline will be well polished between all the stakeholders, and then we'll come out with a unique command system.
As of May 24, the WHO reports 900 suspected Ebola cases and 200 deaths, with Ghana's risk level classified as low.
Health officials say lessons from the 2014-2016 West Africa Ebola outbreak will continue to guide preparedness efforts in the country. Sarah Apenkro, TV3 News, Accra International Airport.
Now, the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau is making public the report of the Tema light aircraft accident despite the Ghana Police Service failing to present the autopsy report to the Bureau. Stakeholders are expected to work on recommendations within 90 days when the report comes out. George Queening reports.
After a month and a few weeks, the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau, AIB Ghana, is set to make public the report of the Tema light aircraft crash, which occurred in March this year. According to the Commissioner, John M.K.
TV3 News, Accra.
Now, climate experts warn that without urgent action, Ghana could face worsening impacts of flooding and extreme heat already affecting communities nationwide. At the Climate Change and Health Education Professional Development Workshop, experts expressed concern over the government's failure to allocate part of its $12 million climate budget for training teachers to effectively teach climate change.
Climate change in Ghana is a pressing crisis, threatening food security, health, and livelihoods. Several communities along Ghana's coast continue to feel the impact of rising sea levels. Despite ambitious national strategies, critical gaps remain. Ghana requires an estimated $22.6 billion to meet its climate goals. Associate Professor Samuel Cornelius Yakun of Indiana University, Ghana, emphasized the need to integrate climate change studies into the basic education syllabus.
Of the $12 billion that they've spent on climate mitigation in Ghana, I tell you, not even $1 has been put into training teachers to effectively teach climate change. So I think they should look at bringing courses like environmental science, earth sciences, geosciences into the basic education curriculum, because we're losing a lot. If you look at the syllabus, the basic education syllabus from primary 1 to GHS 3, the climate concepts, students are supposed to learn are very shallow, and then there are not a lot of, such concepts in it as well.
Programs Manager at Indiana University Ghana Gateway, Dr. Abigail Messi Opongtete, highlighted the dangers of misinformation, stressing the gap between what is taught in classrooms and what is broadcast publicly.
The gap is that there's a disconnect between what we hear on the radio and what the teachers teach, the curriculum and all of that. So coming here, bringing these teachers together, doing a curriculum based on the Ghanaian context, the teachers are supposed to go. We are building the capacity for them to go and teach when they go to their various schools. So the fact that they are going to empower teachers for them to go and teach, it means that is a ripple effect. They are not only empowering only these 60 teachers, but then they will go out there and also impact it in their community.
Experts caution that secondary diseases are being fueled by climate change and warn that if the warming trend is not addressed, health risks will escalate. Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
After decades of studying in the mud structure, pupils of Addo Methodist Primary School in the Sohum municipality now have a new 6-unit classroom block. The facility, handed over by Nestle Ghana and Ecom Ghana, is expected to improve teaching and learning while providing a safer and more comfortable environment for both pupils and teachers.
Pupils, teachers, traditional leaders and residents of Addo in the Sohum municipality gathered in excitement for the commissioning and handing over of a new 6-unit classroom block for the Addo Methodist Primary School. For the community, the project marks a major improvement after nearly 90 years of teaching and learning in a mud structure. Speaking at the event, the managing director of Nestle Ghana noted that the partnership with Ecom Ghana also included the commissioning of another school in the Akroma community in the central region, describing the initiative as part of effort toward improving access to quality education in Ghana.
We source cocoa from these communities and we want to see them strive in a sustainable way. We have today inaugurated 2 schools and 3 more to come just for 2026. The planet, for example, it's also another big part of our commitment. And for example, if you go inside this classroom, you will see that the desks that are there are made of recycled plastic. Yes, plastic is a big problem for us in Ghana. We are tackling it.
Country head for Ecom Ghana, Sudu Kumar, expressed hope that the facility will be properly maintained for future generations.
I think it will go a long way in nurturing the community, nurturing the children. Not only the children, the whole country. As I said, investing in education, that means investing in the country, investing in Ghana.
Headmaster of Addo Methodist Primary School, Emmanuel Paddy, highlighted the impact the facility will have on both teaching and learning.
The children were not coming to school frequently. Sometimes they get sick. the place is too hot. When it's raining like this, all academic work stop. But this one helps us to increase our academic performance. I want to thank Nestle Ghana Limited, Ecom Ghana Limited for helping us to see this edifice.
Some pupils also shared their excitement about the new facility.
Okay, abusunya we ne ensma ekoso ewo political highway ne so eye kwabena AduBoahen eye ne ho nsem no na egu so drop edebama. There is much interesting moment ahead. Baba asan so ba drop eye prosecution witness against kwabena AduBoahen ensem bia ode ababetuja abusunya ye beda mase samoje peneko hutisa ensem we edemai.